Right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's really good to see the turnout today. So it tells me that we have a lot of interest. All of us do in the welfare of our Afghan refugees and how they integrate into Santa Clara County. So thank you all for coming. I'm Marcia Hovey. I'm the executive director of Cadre. Our mission is to communicate, coordinate, collaborate, and cooperate with the community to make sure everyone is working together and we don't leave anyone out. And now I need to figure out how to make this go forward. And if you need help with the live transcription, Anna is our access person today. She's waving now on her screen. Her name in the chat, or you can access her in the chat by saying access Anna. And if you need help with either the Zoom transcript or the Otter AI transcript, just text her and she'll tell you what to do. Chat with her, not text. Just keep yourself on mute. We are going to ask for feedback toward the end. So you are welcome to chat at any time to share comments as the presenters are going forward so that we don't lose your train of thought. So please use the chat freely to get as much information as we can out there to be shared with everyone. All right, next. This is, before we get started, this is the plug that I have for an app called MyShake. Cadre has received a grant to do community preparedness training to all of Santa Clara County in 7 different languages. We are starting by letting everyone know, particularly on this call, that there is an app that is sponsored by the state of California, developed by UC Berkeley, called MyShake. If you download it onto your Android or smartphone, you can receive an advance warning of an earthquake. And it might only be 20 seconds, but in 20 seconds, you can step off a ladder or get off a roof, and hopefully it will save some lives. You can download it in the App Store, and then the trainings that we're going to be doing will be live and recorded, again, in 7 different languages. They'll be posted on the Cadre website starting probably in May. And so we are looking for people to partner with us to get the word out and make sure that we have the whole community involved in all of the trainings, and that we get information to anyone's clients or stakeholders that need it. So I just put all of that information in the chat. All right, our objectives for today, we're going to get a situation update on currently the main players in the Afghan resettlement in Santa Clara County, and then talk about the services provided and resources needed. And then finally, we will let those on the call, if they want to ask questions or share other information about things that maybe we don't know are going on. That's how we will finish the day. And we have 3 primary speakers. They may introduce some additional speakers as well. From Jewish Family Services of Silicon Valley, Mindy Berkowitz, the Executive Director. From Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County, Lydia Gonzalez, who's the Parish Engagement Program Manager. And the International Rescue Committee, and is it Syed? I'll probably get it wrong. Aminovich, who's the Director of the International Rescue Center. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to ask a series of kind of general questions to kind of get us through our objectives, and then we can add. You feel free to add anything that you want to add. All right, so Mindy, let's see. Let me see if we've got all three of our speakers here. I should probably spotlight them. Let's see. Are you there, Mindy?
I am.
Okay, well, I'll let you start while I go hunting for the other two. So Mindy, how did you get involved with the Afghan resettlement?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. It is so good to see old friends and new friends and friends to be as we go forward together to help the newest members of our community. So my organization, Jewish Family Services of Silicon Valley, has been resettling refugees since the 80s. So it's quite a while. And whereas initially we began with emigres from what was called at the time the former Soviet Union, over time we started resettling other peoples. We are a local affiliate of HIAS, who is our national international resettlement organization, which makes us a little bit different from Catholic Charities and IRC, are good partners in this. We are a local affiliate. So we began resettling Afghans who are on special immigrant visas in, I would say, when that program began, and it could be, and maybe Syed will clarify this a little more for me. I believe it was a good 5 or so years ago. So people on special immigrant visas, for those of you who don't know, in this case, these are Afghan citizens who helped our American soldiers while they were there with translation and other functions. So we began kind of gladly welcoming them to our country as part of the agreement that our governments had, that we were going to take care of them. And then when the crisis began or came to fruition last summer, we were there. And so we just powered up and said, here we are a resettlement agency. At the time, we were one of 2 Catholic Charities has come back. It was us and IRC. We're ready to roll. And that's what we did. And that's what we do.
Awesome. All right, Lydia, how about you next?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Lydia Gonzalez. I am filling in for Bridget, our program director at Parish Engagement. And let's see, we got involved with the Afghan Resettlement Program through USDCB, and our partnership within Catholic Charities is the Refugee Foster Care Program. And we're just here to support as a community partner, not so much a resettlement agency.
Okay, awesome. And Syed, how about you? Let me spotlight you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Syed Emirovich. I'm a director of International Rescue Committee in San Jose. Similar to Mindy, IRC has been here since 1979, resettling refugees. We originally opened San Jose office to help the resettlement of Vietnamese refugees. That was back in 1979. Throughout the years, different populations changed. We had people from Ethiopia, Somalia, Bosnia, you name it. And, our agencies have been welcoming these clients here to Santa Clara County and surrounding counties for a while now. Most recently, we have a wave of Afghans that are coming through Operation Allies Welcome. Prior to that, as Mindy mentioned, we had a special immigrant visa holders also coming from Afghanistan. That actually started about 8 years ago, so it's amazing how time flies. But more recently, we have Afghan placement assistant clients who are coming as not as refugees or SIVs, but humanitarian parolees. So it was a little bit different because there was a big evacuation, as you know, from Afghanistan. They ended up on military bases here. And it was not your normal refugee resettlement process where it takes about, usually on average about 2 years for somebody who gets the refugee status overseas before they come to the United States. This was much faster. So what that meant for us is that all the people who ended up on military bases came to our communities at much faster pace. So while we usually resettle about, between 200 to 300 clients each agency per year, we saw just at the IRC, I know it's similar with Jewish Family Services, and now Catholic Charities also came back online. Since August of last year, we had actually 359 arrivals. So it was large influx of clients in a very short period of time. So, we've been trying to do our best, and that's what we do.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right, back to, we'll reverse them. We'll have Siad be first this time. What services are you providing and how many families, which I think you maybe just said, and then what additional resources are needed?
Well, services that we provide, you have a list of core services that are required that we provide through our cooperative agreement, the federal government. That includes everything from picking up people from the airport, getting them into housing, first temporary, then permanent, and then connecting them with the number of services that are available to them. Those services include, social services. They can apply for CalWorks, CalFresh, medical benefits. Right, very shortly after they arrive, they are connected with our employment services because, for people really to succeed here, you need to have that early self-sufficiency, trying to get people employed as soon as possible so they can provide for themselves and their families. Enrolling kids in school, taking them to medical appointments. So all the basic needs that somebody has once they move to a new community. With the refugees, that's often more difficult process because you also have to help them apply for a social security number, IDs, and all these things that are going to enable them to be able to get the jobs and become self-sufficient. And we usually try to do that in a relatively short period of time, usually between the first 6 to 8 months. That has been a little bit challenging, due to a number of factors. I've been doing this job for 20 years, and somebody asked me, have you seen something like this before? I'm like, yes, in the past, we've seen people from, let's say, from Kosovo coming here. There was not a large number of people that came at a relatively short period of time. So we've seen surges of arrivals, but it never happened during the pandemic at the same time. So, it is like just all these things at the same time that, we're trying to work with people and make sure they're okay. And for the most part, yes, we are able to do that. And in large part, that has to do with what we do, but also support from the community. Like Santa Clara County really stepped up and helped us with some additional funding that we were able to get our new arrivals into temporary housing. We are working on trying to get them permanent housing. And then, donations, furniture, gift cards, laptops, so they can get connected to, they can apply for a job online. These days, everything's like that. So that continues to be need. Volunteers, donations, and general community support. Thank you.
And what are the families, what's their mental state? And I don't mean that. It's like, are they positive and happy? I mean, obviously they're happy to be safe, but does it feel like should we have a community event just to honor them? Or I'm just thinking of what would.
I mean, we do have a World Refugee Day that's coming up on June 20th. But to answer, it just depends. Different people. It's a really people who just came here. It's very difficult situation. They left their country and got here in a really short period of time, and there is a high level of need, and resources that we can offer them are limited. So coming to new country and trying to deal with all these things, it's not easy. Now, one thing that we do have going on in Santa Clara County, each refugee that comes here, they go to initial health screening. And I think our health clinic is the only one so far in the country that is a part of your regular health screening. They conduct mental health screening. So I don't know if Aki is on a call, or Marlene from Refugee Health Clinic. They could probably speak more about, they could probably better answer your question about that.
Okay, we'll take that during the open floor and see what else is out there. But I'm happy to know, since we've been very big proponents in Cadre of mental health, happy to know that that's included there. All right, how about Mindy?
Okay, so on one level, I can just say ditto. Everything Syed said is true, and we share in this. Let me just fill in a little bit of information. So the difference between, just the inherent difference between IRC and Jewish Family Service Silicon Valley is IRC is totally refugee focused. This is what they do. For us, it is a large piece of what we do, but we're a social services organization, actually more similar to Catholic Charities. It's refugee services is a big arm of what we do. So in just explaining the difference, I think both models can work. We see that they do, and it comes out a little differently sometimes. Sometimes it means that for us, that the refugees who we help have access to other services that just that an agency that's only focused on refugees may not have in place. We now have mental health services for refugees, but not for everyone. And as Syed was saying, the people who come here are in various levels of trauma. You know, we've resettled approximately 275 refugees since this surge happened, and there will be many, many more. And if you can imagine the picture of it, and I know that there's some people from the Afghan community here, so they know that most people got on the plane as quickly as they could with just a backpack. And like Syed said, normally this process is sometimes way too long. It can take a couple of years. Here, people were pushed, go now. So they may or may not have been ready to get into that mindset of your home is about to disappear, and now you're going to this new place that culturally looks so different, that people are there to support you, but it's different and it's hard. And if you've come from a traditional Muslim background, and here you are suddenly in Silicon Valley, in which the ethos is not primarily a traditional Muslim background, it's really hard for you and your family. So we all, and I'm sure Syed finds this too, we spend a lot of time helping our families adjust. One of the biggest things they have to adjust to is the fact that Syed mentioned employment services and housing. You cannot make it on one salary that's likely going to have, if not minimum wage, close to minimum wage for you and your family. And you may have a larger family. You know, if you're more than one person, it's going to cost you easily $3,000 a month plus for housing alone. So that means that your spouse needs to work. And for a large portion of women from Afghanistan, they're not used to working outside the home, and it's not the ethos. There are some families where it is, and for them it might be an easier adjustment, but there's an additional adjustment to getting used to our culture, where women now should be speaking English, should be learning how to drive, should be working outside the home, just so that the family can financially make it. So it's a very sensitive process that we undergo to help them. And one of the differences now, and I think it's a good difference, is that we are learning to integrate ourselves much more with the receiving community. In this case, the Afghan community. Our goal is not to absorb newly arrived Afghan refugees into the Jewish community. It makes zero sense. And not even into the general community, though that of course is a goal, but there are so many wonderful Afghan support organizations and emerging ones that we are looking to partner with, and we've begun to do that. And I'm sure that IRC is doing that too. So that's where things stand. Everything pretty much is the same. We also really appreciate Aki. I think you saw me with a little thumbs up for that. And as time goes on too, we are bringing back our legal immigration services too, to help people move along that path to citizenship and to bring their families here. The biggest needs for us are access to below market rate housing. I'm sure it is for Syed too. And because that's the immediate thing. You know, we can talk further about how that looks. I see Kathy just put a post down about wanting to know more about some of the Afghan support organizations. Some of them are located here. Many are located in Alameda County. We're also working with IRC in Alameda County because many Afghans want to go to Fremont and other cities. So we will get there. If there's anything I need to fill in, I'm sure the question will come, or any of our partners can truly answer it, or Susan can, whatever you would like to do to go further.
Okay, well, let me, let's have Lydia answer this question, and then we can have Susan talk a little bit more. We'll find Susan here.
Thank you. And I'm going to be asking Candice, who is part of the Refugee and Foster Care Services at Santa Clara County, to just fill in case I leave anything out. But just like Syed and Mindy mentioned, we do have a list of tasks that we have to complete within a certain time period, which include, from temporary housing to an end goal of permanent housing for each family, benefits enrollment, medical appointments, helping people get their driver's license, their just regular ID, connecting them with employment opportunities, most importantly, financial education and opening bank accounts, and also connecting them with our immigration services at Catholic Charities. One thing that makes our program or our model different, I think, from the Jewish Family Services and the IRC, is that we've set up accompaniment volunteer teams that have adopted a family. And basically they help with the connection to the Muslim community. They provide transportation to and from different appointments as much as possible. The groceries from Afghan supermarkets. They're assisting with wardrobe because many of our refugees only came with the bare minimum. They're also collecting donations from the community when it comes to, I believe, like laptops and iPads. Let's see, they're helping us with the cultural orientation and helping the families just overall adjust to all of the changes that are happening. Right now, we currently have 16 individuals that we're supporting, and we are expecting 20 more in the next few weeks, I believe. And I will say our biggest challenge has been the permanent housing, not just finding something affordable, but being able to have property management companies and landlords waive some of the requirements for proof of employment or a history of employment. While we're able to provide proof that our agency can support for 3 months, they're asking us to provide letters of support for 12 months. And right now it's just not something that we can commit to. And it has really prevented us from housing many of our refugee families. Candice, am I leaving anything out?
Hi, thank you, Lydia. Hello, everyone. My name is Candice Chen. I am the director of our refugee foster care program at Catholic Charities. And just piggybacking off of what Lydia said, and a huge thank you to our longtime partners, right, Jewish Family Services and IRC. Catholic Charities was also in the refugee resettlement program for many, many years, but for the last couple of years, as you guys know, right, the whole infrastructure was really, broken down and resources pulled away. And so our resettlement program, we made the very difficult decision to close down our refugee resettlement program, the adult and families resettlement program. Refugee foster care is a small subset of the refugee resettlement. But we came and, through discussions with USCCB and just knowing that there was a huge need for community support, came, and this goes to the first question of coming back to the community to provide and assist Afghan families through the Afghan Placement and Assistance Program. So we're just supporting Afghan families at this time rather than the larger, restarting a refugee resettlement program. And so we're, our numbers, while small, we are trying to support some families through, as Jewish Family Services said, through our existing social services model within Catholic Charities, because we do have a range of services. So trying to support and be a good partner to our large resettlement agencies in the community by providing some support to the families that we are serving. And it's already been shared. The same, required services and just commitment to helping these families adjust to our community, create a sense of belonging, and to help provide some solid footing in getting them started and building a new life here, including, I think, as Lydia and Siad and Mindy mentioned, housing is a critical issue locally, right? Just being able to find that permanent housing to be able to have some stability, right? To be able to know, where as anyone, right, as a family, as an individual, where you're going to be staying permanently or longer term. And so helping these families transition out of emergency or hotel stays into longer transitional and hopefully permanent housing is a critical need, and we can use this support, as Lydia mentioned. There's a number of barriers, and we're hoping to find to remove those barriers and to continue to support these families.
Thank you, Candice. And Susan, hi. More about the refugees, Afghan support groups?
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see all of you today. I just want to say that just like Catholic Charities and IRC, our primary goal is to create independence among this population so that they can settle, they can be housed, and then they can continue to live their lives independently and with quality. And so part of how we do that, that's really important, I think, to the success of our refugees and their ability to resettle, is to provide vocational and ESL classes. And thanks to a grant that we have from the County of Santa Clara, we're able to provide those ESL and vocational services. And I won't talk for long, but what I do want to say is, just as housing is important to this population, so are jobs. And so any help that we can get in terms of leading our clientele to employment would be really helpful, particularly for women who come to the United States and don't have English skills. We're working hard to give them some of those basic English skills, particularly English skills that they can use in a job. But I also want to say that the other challenge for us that we're all facing is transportation. So it's ensuring that they have transportation to their jobs. As you know, the public transportation system in Santa Clara County is not always as easy to use as we would like it to be. Um, and I was really pleased to see that Community Cycles was on this call today, and we are always in need of bicycles. And then the last thing to just put out there is childcare is certainly an issue. So when we have women who are needing to take ESL classes, they need someone to take care of these small children that they have. And so we are working hard right now to find childcare options for them so that they can have that freedom to take those classes that will allow their independence.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so the three of you, I'll start with Lydia this time. So what else can the community do to help? You have a lot of people listening today that they came to learn, and they may have come with resources. So what else can we do to help?
Yeah, the list is, it's endless, but I will say that Susan just reminded me of something else that has been a challenge recently, is transportation. As much as our accompaniment team is supporting in so many ways, they also have families that they have to take care of, and they're not always available for last minute appointments. So I think just different ways of providing transportation for clients, whether it be donated Uber cards, Lyft, bus passes, the bikes. I just heard about that. I don't know how maybe using a bike would work, considering some of our clients are in the hotels and how dangerous those streets are right now, but maybe in the future, that could be something that we could rely on. And basically for Catholic Charities, for our program, we'd invite anybody to become an accompaniment volunteer, be part of a team that supports the family. And if you can't do that, then like I said, there's always other ways to provide a donation by not credit card, gift cards. Those are very helpful. Right now, we've been paying for like their cell phone bills just on a monthly basis with Metro PCS. People can also adopt a family in the sense of paying for their phone bill. And that's something that we set it up this with Metro PCS, because all you need to do is enter the person's phone number and the dollar amount. We don't need to share too much personal information. And some people don't have the time, but they have the financial resources, which we greatly appreciate. So I think for us, it's signing up to become an accompaniment volunteer, transportation, and any housing resources.
Okay, thank you. And Mindy.
So I would say, I think we can all say ditto on a lot of things.
Sure.
We need help. At the moment, actually, we do have quite a few volunteers. I think that volunteers who speak, Pashto and Dari, that will help. We need, housing is really big. Any information regarding below market rate housing, or landlords who are amenable to renting to refugees, understanding that somebody is coming here without a job right away, and that we need to make special arrangements. That's important. I think in our case, I'm sure in everyone's case, gift cards to Target, gift cards to Amazon, because people, as I said, are coming here with a backpack. So think of all the things one needs. We currently have, I believe it was up to 9 storage units filled with stuff. Stuff isn't the biggest thing right now, although we do have an Amazon wish list. And if somebody wants to, I'll put that in the chat actually afterwards. You know, the main thing isn't the things that are sometimes the easiest, like I'll get my group of friends, we'll put together kitchen supplies, I'll clean out my closets and give you my old clothes. It's not the main things. We need to crack the harder nuts. And the main thing is housing, which is so difficult, and gift cards. Those would be the two biggest things, I would say. Sia, do you agree?
I agree. Yes. Gift cards, actually, gift cards. The nice thing about gift cards is it gives clients freedom to get what they need, is rather than us, bringing things to them. So, and it's as little as it is, it's nice to regain some sense of taking control of things that you have control over. When you get a new place, you lose lots of that. Yeah, gift cards are great. Laptops would be a big thing. Like when you are trying to get, right now, we are still mostly working remote. So applying for the benefits or accessing your vocational ESL classes or applying for a job or, getting assistance from the tutors for the kids from the school. You need to have access to internet and you need to have access to technology to access the programming. So, we are in Silicon Valley, I always say it shouldn't be too hard to do it. I would like to be able to give at least one laptop per household, ideally two, so husband and wife at least can have it, and then can share it with the kids as well. So that would be a big one. We do have digital inclusion program through the city of San Jose where we try to connect our clients with affordable internet, but still you need to have that device to be able to access it. My volunteer coordinator, we just had a meeting this morning, she's saying we are short on bedding. So bedding, we have Amazon wish list that people can go and order things. For those who would like to get more involved personally, we do have this new program. It's called Community Co-Sponsorship, where you can create a team of at least 5 individuals, fundraise $5,000, and get connected directly with the refugee family to kind of provide these core services that the settlement agency usually does. Of course, we still have program manager who assists you with that. But yeah, so if somebody has time and resources, that's another way to get involved. And as everybody else was mentioning, I mean, we try to get clients from just getting here to really becoming self-sufficient. Housing is a big part of that. I mean, I wish we had more affordable housing, but reality is living in California, really there isn't that much affordable housing. So what we try to focus on instead of, yes, cheaper housing is great. If somebody can give us discount and is willing to work with us, it's amazing. But also helping clients get the jobs as soon as possible. So instead of looking for affordable housing, we get them a job so they can actually afford the housing. So, building those connections, if, finding a jobs that offer living wages, those are also important things. Also, once you get employed, you do have access to the other programming that we have, in our offices. For example, in the IRC, we do have career development programs. So once you get that entry-level job, you can pursue careers like in, hospitality, medical, finance, tech. But job is a key to accessing all those things afterwards. And, to do all that work, we do have staff, but having the volunteers who are willing to work with us and help us with that is always helpful. So yeah, that I think I kind of like repeating lots of things that everybody else was saying, but that is just the reality. Those are the things that people need. So.
Yeah, those are all great. And I'm going to go back again to the fact that people want to give you stuff versus gift cards. This is in any emergency situation, that's people's first reaction. And just for everyone on this call, that becomes a disaster within the emergency because it takes staff time to sort through all of those things, and then you have to throw away things that aren't appropriate, then that's bad PR because you're throwing away donations. The best thing to do, the only thing to do if you want to collect donations, is hold a garage sale and sell them all and give them the cash, because you do want people to be able to become, you know, to have their dignity and be able to repurchase and regrow their lives. They're not looking, well, they're not looking for a handout. That wasn't the idea. The idea was is that they came here to start a new life, and we as good Californians have the ability to help them do that without giving them somebody's used stuff. And I totally appreciate giving used stuff, but there are folks in the community that will buy those 25-cent shirts and jeans, and you can take that cash and then they can get the exact size and the exact color and the exact bedding that fits their needs. And so that really is the best way to do, to support. It really is. And it makes it so much easier for the organizations to be able to divvy up cash than to divvy up socks and shoes. That's my soapbox, sorry. Okay. There was a question in the chat, and I'll just let the three of you kind of decide if you want to share about legal support. We have United policyholders here. They're asking if there's legal services needed.
I mean, I guess I can start. Yes, they are. The thing is, as I mentioned earlier, the Afghans that came to military bases, for the most part, came as parolees. Parole is not a permanent status. So when you come as a refugee, after 1 year, you can apply for a green card, and after 5 years, you can apply for citizenship. It's a straightforward process. For people that are getting humanitarian parole, that is a temporary status. And in order for them to get more permanent status, as of right now, they have to apply for asylum. If they get asylum, then they can apply for a green card and everything afterwards. But getting an asylum is not an easy thing to do. It's a complicated process, and I'm not going to talk about the process because I'm not an immigration guy. But that is the need that is out there. That most of our arrivals, if they did not come as an SIVs, and they came as humanitarian parolees, they will have to find a way to adjust their status more permanently. And finding the legal service providers who can work with us to help us out with that it would be great. Yeah.
Right.
So we had before the pandemic a monthly pro bono legal immigration clinic, and we were working very closely with AILA attorneys, and these are the Immigration Attorneys Association, and we work with the AILA Association of Santa Clara County. So during the pandemic, it was tough to do this because this was an on-site clinic, and we really helped refugees save hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We are looking to begin it again. We have taken steps to do that. Susan has a little bit more information on that, unless I think we're just at the beginning steps, but we know we need to do that, and hopefully we'll be able to keep our doors open. We are working kind of a hybrid model on site and remotely, but we are welcoming volunteers and some clients back in the building. So we are beginning that again. It is a very important process. At some point, we really do hope to have an attorney on staff, but we don't currently have that funding. I don't know if Susan wanted to add something here. Maybe we can make that happen. Marcia, I don't know if you want to invite her to speak or not. She's not highlighted here. There she is.
There she is.
Here I am. I actually don't have more to add to that except stay tuned because it's a work in progress.
Okay. All right, Lydia, anything to add for legal services?
We are having our in-house immigration and legal services team assist our current clients So as of right now, I don't know that we need any additional support since we're still in the beginning phase. But if we do, we'll definitely reach out.
Okay, and we can definitely share the contacts of organizations on this call, or they can put their emails in the chat and I'll just copy those over to you so that you know who's out there. Okay. All right, anything else about this that you thought of about how the community could help? Otherwise, I think next is opening it up to the crowd. It's awesome. Oops. Yeah. Did I skip one? So let's talk about this one real quick. So we do, we can support them. You can support them. Your organizations are fabulous, and I'm in awe of all of the work that you're doing. So there was a question in the chat I saw, and then we'll tie it into this, is that how many more people are we expecting to come? Will the Ukraine crisis add to this? And or have you heard anything about that? But then how do we help the community feel welcome? And maybe gift cards is one of them versus giving them an old pair of pants. But does anybody have anything they want to share? You can raise your hand.
I can start with how many more. I am guessing, but I am only guessing, that it will be double what we have now. It'll just double itself between now and the fall, but things can change on a dime. However, the bases do need to be emptied. There is no intention for us to start refugee camps here in the US. And if refugees stay on the base much longer, it becomes a new kind of refugee camp. But I think whoever can get out of Afghanistan will, if they're feeling unsafe. So we are expecting, and I'm guessing with IRC, it's the same thing. We're expecting about that same amount going forward. Hard exactly to know. In terms of Ukraine, it's very interesting because we hear some conflicting things. On one level, because there's so many people leaving Ukraine, and because our agencies have resettled people from Ukraine and we have contacts in the community, we expect to do quite a bit of that when that happens. But it's not clear how many people are actually going to come to the United States. It's not clear how many will stay in Europe or other countries. Plus, the United States government has work to do to welcome them. There is an amount, it's 125,000 refugees that are supposed to be allowed into the United States, except the Afghan refugees don't even fit that, so it's aside from that. And there could be a special allotment or designation for Ukrainian refugees. But we're all paying attention to this very much so, because we know that this could impact us the same way it did with the Afghan refugees, where our programs had been decimated. I mean, IRC for a while wasn't even allowed to resettle refugees, and suddenly they had to gear up to do twice a normal year, at least, if not more. Ours, similar story, but with different numbers, but still. And now we will look to have that happen, but we don't have the answers. We don't have it yet. We just are paying attention every day, all day long.
Okay, thanks. Lydia, anything?
I'm going to try to remember that it was a few parts to the question. I know our program is very small compared to Jewish Family Services and the IRC. So we are able to receive another 20 individuals before the program ends, I believe, September 30th. I'm trying to think. What was the other part of it?
How to keep the community, how to feel welcome or included.
I think a lot of it does have to do with receiving them with the support on, like in hand, having them receive a cell phone, you know, as soon as we check them into the hotel, and have just even a welcome basket with different resources that we know they are going to need without them having to ask for it. And that being gift cards for transportation, clothing. We have to be very mindful of the women and the clothing that they wear. And we want them to be able to shop for something that's culturally appropriate for them. And not, while they are very grateful for everything else, yes, the used items, they just don't work. It's not culturally appropriate. And we definitely don't want to offend anybody in any way. So that would be a way to support. I am, see, trying to think of what else.
Yeah, what's culturally appropriate? What would
So a lot of the women
we not do?
they do wear the hijab and they cover their body. So we just want to make sure that they shop for whatever feels comfortable for them. They know which fabrics they need to use for summer and winter, which was something that they did request actually upon arrival. Their winter on the East Coast at the military base was very different to the California 80-degree winter that they arrived to. So that was an immediate need that they had to go shopping for clothing. They could be comfortable in here.
Okay.
And as far as the refugees in Ukraine, I know Catholic Charities will be more than happy to welcome any other refugees. At the same time, we understand that many of our programs are impacted right now. So I think, just like Mindy mentioned, we are paying attention to what's going on. We're just on standby for now.
Okay, thanks. Sia, do you have anything you want to add? Or I see some questions in the chat I'm going to ask.
No, I mean, the number of arrivals that we have planned to resettle this year, it's about 500. So, you know, we are 100 away from that. So I'm expecting we're going to exceed that. As far as people coming through from Ukraine, it's too early to know. There is no, there is not going to be, I don't think so, like same thing like we had people from Afghanistan come here. If they go through regular refugee process, that could take much longer than, you know, immediate. But yeah, so.
And one of the other questions was how many total refugees have each of you brought in? You just said 400.
So let me add to that.
Yeah.
There's another partner too. It's JFCS East Bay. And they've brought in at least 500. And they're looking to bring in more. Also, Siad, is that the number? IRC up in Alameda County, it's higher. There's probably also about that number. So I'm guessing at this time that there's got to be approaching 2,000 refugees. I might be overstating that a bit, but it could be close to 1,500 individuals, not families.
Individuals, okay.
To answer that question. Yeah.
IRC in Oakland brought in 606 clients since October 1st and as of now. So between IRC San Jose and IRC Oakland, that's close to 1,000. And I know Jewish Family Service has been doing the same.
So it's going to be closer to 2,000 at the moment, people.
Okay. And Lydia, how many have you brought in?
We have 16 right now, and we can take another 20. And something I did forget to mention, and I don't know if it's an issue that's come up with Mindy and Siad, is that for us, the families that we took on, they had confirmed US ties, which meant that they had somebody here in the Bay Area that had previously agreed to take in the family. However, upon arrival, and for some, not even before we met them at the airport, the US tie said, you know what, only my husband is working. We live in a crowded 2-bedroom apartment. We can't even take them in for the night. And we understand, that they just wanted their family here. And that is why they initially agreed to it. And we understand their circumstances. So things did change for us in the last minute for most of these families. So that is something that has changed things for us financially. And again, why we're asking for affordable housing and why it's such an urgency for some of us. We just didn't anticipate that need.
Yeah.
Exact same thing for us. I'm sure for IRC too. I think we can all appreciate the desperation. I know that when my people came to this country from Eastern Europe, I'm sure there's a relative. We know a guy. Just when you get there, just call him, say his name. You can use his name to get in. And then you're looking at somebody who doesn't have means. So I think we can appreciate that desperation. Then now from the agency level, it's like, so what do we do? We're not the housing bank of Silicon Valley. So it is a difficult situation. It is a difficult situation. Some people ask us, so why then are Afghan refugees even coming to Silicon Valley with the housing crisis being as it is? And I think a large part is because there's a really thriving Afghan community here, and people want to be with their people. All of us do. We want to be with our community. We want a chance at a new life that's going to feel like I recognize these people. But it does create challenges, and we're doing our best to meet them.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, thank you. Let me see if what about, is there something being done for children specifically? Do you have children's programs? Siad, you're unmuted, so you can go first.
We have youth programs, not so much children programs. The difference, might be minor, but youth, for the most part, is defined anything between 16 to 24. So it's a little bit different. For our children, when they get here, if they are young children, obviously they need to go to school, and that's the most important, so they can restart their life as soon as possible, get that education. However, if you're not able to put parents in a permanent housing right away, if the family is living in a hotel, it's difficult to put somebody in a school that they're going to have transferred from within a month or two. So oftentimes we would actually wait a little bit until we secure the permanent housing before we put kids in the school. And kids are usually very resilient. Oftentimes it's amazing how fast they learn. It's like they're like sponges. Just like put them in school, they start learning English. Oftentimes that means that they're going to be taking on some of the things that they traditionally shouldn't, like interpreting, translating for the parents and such. So I guess in order for us to take care of children, we need to take care of the family as a whole by first providing them permanent housing and making sure parents have means of income so they can support their family, so they can restart normal life. But in the meantime, making sure that kids are enrolled in a school and learning. And for that, as I was mentioning, making sure that they get laptops, technology, support with mentors down the line, those all important things. But yeah.
Thanks, Lydia.
We don't have anything in place right now. We'd rely on just our community resources or anything within Catholic Charities. We only have 2 children. Well, they're toddlers. And then one of the moms was 8 months pregnant when she arrived, and she just recently had her baby. Another one just found out she was pregnant. So it's not a resource that we needed just yet. However, the two families that have the toddlers have requested a home with a yard, some sort of private play area for their children. So I think that just goes to show exactly what Zaid was talking about, that just housing them and having some sense of normalcy and stability will benefit the children just as much.
Thank you. Mindy, anything to add?
I think along the line of what the other two have said, you know, we don't have breakout services for kids, but it's very difficult to enroll them in school when they don't have what housing they're going to. And also, we've had quite a few refugees arrive pregnant or give birth shortly thereafter. And so they have to get used to, you know, United States system of maternity care and how that all works. So, I mean, there's a known number of children that have arrived, but I can't tell you that off the top of my head. Just assume that there's a lot. And traditional Muslim families tend to be larger. So there really are a lot of kids. The cost per individual and family, let me just answer that quickly too. The main cost, housing and everything else, some of it we have funding for, especially IRC and JFS. We have initial funding in terms of some initial housing expenses, some employment, some of our staffing. But the big cost is the cost of housing after a month or two. We are paying, and Siad, I'm guessing you're doing the same thing. We're paying first and last month. We're scraping together dollars. We have some money from the county. We have some money here, some money there, you know, to pay for first and last month, and sometimes as much as first 3 months. But figure out what, you know, the cost per housing is at a minimum $3,000. And if that's if you're going to squish a family of 6 or so into a 2-bedroom place. It's very expensive. It is very expensive. It's different from prior refugee resettlement in that because of the pandemic, everything's a little bit on a delay, as well as the circumstances in which people are here, and their level of trauma in terms of being able to take on new things and, okay, I'm just going to dive right into it and do it. You know, we're helping them work through their own resistance, which we weren't used to in the past. So, and it's totally understandable. It really is. So it's tens of thousands of dollars per person, really, to get them going. You know, let me just say one thing. Last fall, I was able to raise $750,000 for JFS and IRC in additional funding for us to support this emergency need. And we felt like we were flush with cash. Like, this is great. We're going to make it work. It went so fast. There is more money needed. And in fact, we're going to be approaching the county for more money and any other, you know, and we're approaching Alameda County now too for funds. But it's many thousands per family, all in the goal of helping them become economically self-sufficient. We're not here to create dependency, but they have additional challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we can have a Bay Area Children's Fun Day in the park. These are very burdened people. It's not a normal circumstance. It's possible. If you look at kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need to get them housed. We need to get them fed. We need to get them self-sufficient before they can, you know, and deal with mental health right now, before we do all the other things. It is a difficult circumstance. We are looking to, as time goes on, our Afghan community partners who can help us. You know, who can help us really go further in this. You know, as I was working with IRC and JFCS, we listed who are some of our partners in Alameda County. In this case, it really flows from Santa Clara and Alameda County because refugees really want to move there. I don't blame them. That's where the people are, by and large. So it's a little different. Sia, do you want to add anything to that, or did I kind of say it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty much. I mean, I am noticing actually more people wanting to stay in Santa Clara County. I mean, I personally think, I mean, people often ask, like, why you bring refugees here? I mean, yes, it's expensive, but it's also a great place to be. It's welcoming county. San Jose is welcoming city, very diverse. There are opportunities for people. So yeah, it might be a little bit more difficult to get you started, but if you've been doing this for a while and then you can see somebody who just got here and you see them 2 years later, 5 years later, and you see they're doing okay, then you know the reasons why we keep on bringing people here. I mean, so yeah, I mean, yes, there is a large community of Afghans in Alameda County, but then also we have been working with our county, Santa Clara County, in trying to relocate the resources for housing for our clients. So more of them are actually staying here, enrolling in our employment programs, and hopefully getting employed and self-sufficient soon. But yeah, that's all I have to add.
All right. Okay, Kosser has a question. And there's another question in the chat, and I'm just going to switch to here because I think we're about to start getting questions from the audience. But Kosser, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Kausar Amini, Northern California refugee organizer with CHERLA. And thank you so much for all information and brief introduction about how the refugees, especially Afghan family situation in North Cal and also in different counties. But my main question might be this one, that what do you have a plan in behalf of, like, because you all are running like resettlement agencies that directly working with refugees. What do you think about the mentally health of the children that they just suffer from war from Afghanistan? Because these a lot of children's like not having normal mental health condition. As I'm from Afghanistan originally, and I'm just meeting this family around my family and also other county, I'm visiting them, and I just had like a lot of voluntary work with different resettlement agencies in the past, like with Jewish family, with Roots of Peace, and also with Abad resettlement agency. These children are like, even some of them are not enrolled in school. They doesn't have any kind of activity. Their moms, as Mandy mentioned, they're not well educated. They don't know the language. They're not able to start working in society. So a lot of challenges. But my main focus might be here, and main concern might be here, that what about these children that they're suffering from a lot of like distracted health or mentally situation, because these all are like they suffer, like they just saw the war, guns, fire, shouting, killing in front of their eyes. They're still carrying those memory here. But if some of organization, maybe a Delete IRC or Jewish family, could just start some online courses for these children to give them some more information about how to adjust in the U.S. society, because it's a lot of culture difference here. Because I came here in 2019 to SIV visa with my one children. Now I have two child. So because I was well educated, I was studying outside of Afghanistan when I was in Afghanistan, but I just adjust very easily here in the United States of America. But for those women that they even they were at home in Afghanistan, they didn't know how to settle in community, like kind of get more engaged or involved with community-based activities. So that might be a lot of challenges. So if these large refugee organizations could or be available to provide some online courses for educate these moms plus children a little bit, give them some more information, get them more information about how to be familiar with the U.S. culture, that might be great starting for educate these children with their moms. So this was just an idea. And thank you so much for your all information. And I'm very glad to meet you all here in this amazing virtual event today.
Yeah, isn't Zoom great that we can be all over the country and share information? I love it. Any of the three of you want to comment, or I have another question if you.
I think that with parish engagement, our accompaniment program is going to cover a lot of those needs, where we are primarily matching the refugee families with volunteers from the Muslim community. We also have volunteers from all walks of faith. So, but we do try to match them primarily with the Muslim community. And then after that, we also mix the groups so everybody can learn from each other and just work together. As far as providing mental health services, this is I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but really it starts with stabilizing families in permanent housing. Once they have a place that they can call home, that they learn is a safe place for them, with a yard, with, able to enjoy meals that are not right next to your bed, just having some sense of normalcy, that's going to help the children out a lot. The mental health support is there. The families do not want it right now. What they are asking for is work and a place to live. And without knowing where they're going to live, it's also difficult for them to figure out where they're going to work when we're lacking transportation. So we encourage anybody, if you're on this call in this meeting, or if you know anybody that would make a great accompaniment volunteer, please send them our way. That is a way that you can support.
Great, thank you. The other question here, it says on March 15th, the program for housing was launched between the state and IRC. So Syed, do you have an overview on that, or can you explain what that is?
Yes, I know just a little bit more than you guys. It's a brand new program. Actually, it's that's not entirely true. ACIP is a program through the state of California, to California Department of Social Services, that provides housing assistance to Afghans who arrived from last year until now. It is administered to IRC, but not IRC San Jose. It's IRC headquarters. Like if we were to apply for our clients for the housing assistance, we would have to go through the exact same process like clients from Catholic Charities or from Jewish Family Services. And it's not only open to resettlement agencies, it's open to, I guess clients cannot apply directly for it, but any agency that works with Afghans can help them apply for this funding. It provides temporary housing assistance so people can get support with the housing while trying to restart their lives. I just started. I haven't had any applications from our office processed yet. So hopefully in a couple of weeks, I will have a better idea how it works. But yes, it provides assistance, I believe, from three months up to a year, depending on the level of need, and you can renew the request. And I guess total funding for whole California, it's about 38 million. And it's split in half. It's between Northern California and Southern California. I believe Catholic Charities is administering program in Southern California, and IRC is administering here in NorCal. So yeah, additional resource that just became available to our Afghan arrivals.
Okay, thank you.
I want to add to that though, while we're grateful for this financial resource, you still have to find the location, and you still have to get a landlord that's willing to participate. And the same requirements apply with credit check, employment history, and all of those requirements. So what the program does is provide financial assistance, and we have to find the landlord that's willing to support. So if you have friends that are landlords, please encourage them to be a little bit more lenient with their requirements. And we're not setting anybody up to fail. So I think, I'll speak for myself, but I also think Mindy and Siad, your team would not set up any family in a unit that they wouldn't be able to afford in the future. So while we can guarantee 3-month support, we're confident, I think, that clients will be able to afford their monthly installments moving forward. And if they can't, we're also here to support in other ways.
Okay. All right, so let's open the floor. Thank you everyone for using the chat, because I think we did a really good job of answering questions as they came up. But if anyone wants to speak, if they have a resource, if you have a resource to share, or you have another question for the group, you can raise your hand and I'll take care of those. I'm not seeing any hands. Oh, here's one, Rudy. Unmute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rudy Garcia. This is my first time on this call, and I'm a community relations representative for Anthem Blue Cross. I just want to, invite everyone to reach out in case you, your organization would like a presentation for in terms of access to healthcare. We have a Medi-Cal 101 presentation that Anthem provides, especially for that core population group of women and children, in terms of, accessing benefits, healthcare, Medi-Cal. And I'm in Alameda County, but I cover the entire Bay Area and beyond. So, if you're interested in service presentation or virtual presentation, I know that, the social determinants of health in terms of, the refugees getting those primary needs met are very important. I've heard a lot about housing, food insecurity, and all that's linked with healthcare. And so a lot of our benefits and services are provided freely for members in terms of transportation, for housing, apartment walkthroughs, appointments, et cetera. So my information is on the chat, and I'd be more than happy to help support, the cause. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rudy. And yeah, if we can't find it in the chat, I'll make sure that I get it to the 3 organizations. Okay, Kathy from United Policyholders.
Hi, I'm actually not from United Policyholders.
Oh.
I'm sorry I don't know where that came from. They sound like a great organization. I'm actually an interim program officer at the Packard Foundation.
Oh.
And the Packard Foundation doesn't actually have a standalone program in refugee or immigration work, but they have made some one-off grants in the past to support Afghan resettlement. So I'm here to learn if there's opportunities in the future for that kind of responsive grant making. And just to not raise it, there may not be. I mean, it's really a learning opportunity. So my questions to see, I had first to thank you for this call. I've learned so much, and I really, really, really admire the work you're doing. And some of these individual opportunities to volunteer are really resonating. I had 2 questions. I have put it in the chat a couple of times. There's just a website that I've seen. It's Welcome USA. I was curious if any of the folks, the speakers or other people on this call, have used that website. I think it's a new national resource to try to match organizations that are serving refugees or immigrants and with resources. Just curious if you've used it. I have no stake in it. I'm just curious.
So it's, I can respond to that one a bit. It is a good thing, and it is a confusing thing for those of us who are resettlement agencies, because it is most relevant in communities where there are not established resettlement agencies. It pairs particularly faith communities to families they can sponsor, to basically makes them like you know, if people want to, and people don't like this term, adopt a family, because you don't really adopt a family, but if they want to sponsor family, be part of it, it is that. In order for a resettlement agency to work with them, it takes a lot of work because it doubles our efforts. It's people want to be helpful. They want to do different things.
Okay.
It's a little difficult for us right here in Santa Clara County. I know somehow they're pulling it off in Oakland. They must have additional staff because it's it's big right now in LA because they don't exactly have, especially in the Jewish community, Jewish Family Services in LA is not doing resettlement. So it really works there, but it is so well intended.
Sure.
And
sure,
at the same time, it makes double work for us.
Yeah.
So I want to be honest the way Marcia was honest, that whereas these other things are really, really helpful and they're so good, and yes, people need a new pair of pants, they really need the gift card. So it would be better to support the resettlement agencies. So, because we know the litany of tasks, there are a ton of tasks. There are, you know, in terms of getting people registered for every single benefit they need and getting them access to housing and doing what we can so their kids can get into school. You know, we need to really focus on that main work first. So I think the welcome communities are important things where there aren't resettlement agencies. That's how it seems to me. If there is a resettlement agency who's working with it, then I'm guessing they have additional staff because it takes whole staff to do it. We have faith communities in Palo Alto chomping at the bit to do this, but it would take a full staff person. And I have to sometimes hold my staff back to say, do you have time to help them do the work that we're doing? So I hope you can understand that in the spirit it's meant. It's not a put down.
No. As I said, I don't have a stake in the outcome. I was curious when the question came up about resources. Other thoughts from other speakers or folks? Thank you, Mindy. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, I saw the page, and as Mindy was mentioning it, we are trying different model right now. It's called community co-sponsorship, where we are trying to get these groups of individuals to really try to help us do the work that we do. And Mindy is absolutely right. We had to hire full-time community sponsorship manager to recruit, oversee, assist, and manage those groups. So yes, it's not an easy effort to resettle the families. So if there is no other additional resources and the community groups can take this on and provide assistance where otherwise people wouldn't receive it, great. If you already have a resettlement agency that's doing this, you know, we are trying it out. Put it that way. We want to see if this is a viable resettlement option here in Santa Clara, in Alameda County.
Great, thank you. Now I have Ishrat asked for 5 minutes. I could give you 2, Ishrat, because we're almost out of time. You gotta unmute. Let's see if I can help him unmute.
It looks like he's unmuted, but we can't hear him.
Oh no.
Ishrat, do you have a speaker or microphone on your computer? A headset, perhaps? Oh, sorry, we can't hear you. Maybe you can put the gist of what you'd like to share in the chat box.
Or email it to Marcia at cadresv.org, and I'll make sure that they get the information. And we're probably going to be doing an article in our next newsletter too to put out some of the tasks for translators and volunteers. So we'll definitely get that. I'm sorry that we can't reach you, but yeah, if you want to put something in the chat, feel free. All right. You guys, thank you so much for all of your insights and great information about this. I hope that we can get you some additional support for the great work that you're doing. And yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time. And this is what Cadre does. We just want to bring the community together to see what else we can do to help. I will, for the last time, put the information in the chat again about the My Shake app, because we have to tell 5,000 people in the next 6 months, 7 months, and you're the first group. So I'm checking off 50 people. But we're also looking for presenters. So particularly where we have a lot of language experts on this call, if anybody wants to help us get the word out for earthquake preparedness, that would be wonderful.
We have Salah as asking for 1 minute.
Salah, you have 1 minute, go.
Thank you much, Salah Al-Bakri, Support Life Foundation. I'm very glad that I got to meet all of you. We're at our organization similar to Habiba Foundation, and I'm sorry my colleague could not speak here. We couldn't hear him. We became very involved with all the refugees, not only here, but all the way from Yuba City to San Jose and Fremont, down to Turlock and Modesto. And we provide them, we have a robust system running out of Santa Clara, the MCA grounds on Scott Boulevard, where we deliver food to them on weekly basis, actually, right now. We have a list of clients to the different hotels, and we do it in a very polite way where we don't disturb the operation of the hotel. So it's usually 5 clients at a time. They can come down and pick up the food. It's gotten, the interaction has improved, and it's gotten to the point where also the local community wants to participate. And we've just hired a coordinator yesterday for the volunteers. So I welcome the opportunity to partner with all of you. And I want to make sure I don't duplicate the work of someone else. Last week, we brought in some bicycles, and I have a list of kids who want the bicycles, and the weeks, and it feels like every week we're adding more. We've also brought a few ballots of clothes for all ages that went out in split seconds. Those are brand new clothes donated by retailers as part of our distribution in 4 counties where we operate, namely Santa Clara County, Contra Costa County, Alameda County, and this. And now we're getting to the point where we're thinking we want to start a whole, together with the Afghan Coalition, and a local mosque in Hayward, to start a distribution hub for our food, since we partner with a lot of food banks all around. So I welcome the opportunity to serve with you. We have a very robust volunteer system and registration for volunteering, and hence, as the operation starts to grow further, and we don't want to do, and we're aware of what you guys do, so I definitely don't want to duplicate. There is too much to do anyway, so we're looking forward to do the minimum, the smaller task, the driving them to, open a bank account. We've already opened few, maybe DMV, all these calls, and I'm trying to galvanize the effort amongst the Muslim community in multiple mosques, since we already work in 22 mosques around the Bay Area. So I welcome the opportunity to serve with you. I know in Alameda County is more of the IRC territory, and in San Jose, it feels like a lot of those peoples in the hotels along 101 are with the Jewish Family Services. I'm just making myself available, and just want to coordinate and not duplicate. May God continue to bless you all. Thank you.
Ella, there was a request for your contact info. If you could place it in the chat box, please.
Indeed, I did before, and I'll do it again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, and for the other speakers too, maybe put yours in at the end here, just so everyone can see them before we sign off. And I got a private message that the link to the my Shake app may not be working, so I will look for that and send it out again because I want to make sure that you get that early warning. All right, thank you. We're a couple minutes over, but gosh, such good information. Thank you all for being here. And we will make sure you read our newsletter to get more information, and reach out to us if you think we need to have another call or you need any contact information. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.